What I love about the timing of this dropping in August is it's almost exactly 2 years after you became a minority owner for Birmingham City. What drew you to want to be a part of that club? Looking back to its history of 1875 since it started, what drew you to get into not only that club, but also soccer as well? Because as a soccer player myself, I'm loving the fact that you crossed over into the soccer world.
Well, we all played soccer growing up, and obviously
Micah Parsons is the latest Dallas player dealing with lengthy contract talks. What is Jerry Jones doing? Plus, NFL Red Zone has a new home with ESPN. Hello, everyone, and welcome into Front Office Sports today as we kick off the week from our FOS studios in New York City. I'm Renee Washington. While a non-binding deal with Disney and the NFL is finalized as Disney is acquiring the NFL's linear Red Zone channel and other properties, the NFL, on the other hand, gets a 10% equity stake in ESPN as the company prepares to launch its flagship streaming app August 21st. So how does this deal position ESPN going forward and change the streaming landscape at large? Let's get into that in our main event. As you mentioned, we keep seeing these historic valuations and expansion that the league's having, but the reality is on the player side, salary is still the most pressing issue. And for you, you played overseas, you played in Russia. A lot of players still have to play overseas or even with Unrivaled in order to be able to support themselves financially. What is the financial reality as a player? Now, I'm curious, within your roles as Santi and Price, is this maybe going to lead you to open the door to more sports opportunities, investment, or even following in the footsteps, let's say, of Ben Stiller with his New York Knicks fandom for you guys? Played for the best teams, Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, MLS, which was your final stop before you retired, winning a championship with LAFC, of course. MLS has been seen as a retirement league as they try to become a top league in the world. Where do you think they really stand in taking those steps that are necessary to truly be at the top of competition in terms of competing with the best teams, acquiring the best players in their prime? And that becomes a 23rd coach in franchise history. This is the third coach they've had since firing Monty Williams in May of 2023 in search of a new voice. And now you have Ott stepping into his first head coaching role. You notice there was no Kevin Durant mentioned in that because they're shopping him for other teams. So you're now coming into a franchise that had the highest payroll, under 500 record, and is moving on from Kevin Durant with a new head coach. But for him and Johnny Bryant as well, two Cavs assistants that were the finalists for this opportunity, and it is Ott that gets the op. Welcoming in a 5-time Pro Bowler, 5 All-Pro receiver, who is, in my opinion, undoubtedly a future Hall of Famer. It is DeAndre Hopkins. Welcome to the show. So nice to have you here.
Thank y'all. I appreciate all the accolades. You didn't have to say all that. Thank you.
Well, then you really aren't going to like what we have to say next of happy belated birthday to you. On the Cowboys, we're seeing contract talks with other players as well. Terry McLaurin seeking a DK Metcalf type of extension that he got with the Steelers. Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals. James Cook with the Bills. Also seeing a number of players that are fighting for the contracts they feel they deserve. Do players truly have any leverage when it comes to contract talks? And what's great is during your time on the show, you met somebody new. You're now wife. You've gotten married. You've had 3 children. You've evolved as a man. And also what I appreciate is not only did you grow through the show, but so many others have talked about how the show, Mina Kimes, J.A. Adonde, various panelists that you've had on the show that mentioned they evolved in their careers, ability to talk sports, and even just being a part of the changing landscape, whether it was the all-black panel or bringing more women involved. How did you find that blend to be so successful for so many years of your evolution, being that warm, engaging personality that we feel right now on the show, to also invite others in to be a part of that Around the Horn family? Welcome in, as you were just this past weekend inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Well deserved. And I loved the vulnerability and honesty in your speech of just wishing that you had done more in your career to let people in. With all the great moments we've seen, Carly, I'm curious, what are those moments that when you reflect back on, you wish we had a chance to witness? That $10 million contract, including some incentives, is the expectation for Rodgers' 1-year deal. But do you remember back in February when Steelers safety Deshaun Elliott said, leave his bleep at the retirement home? Well, they're not teammates, and he's not at the retirement home. He actually flew out Friday morning, this morning, to finalize the contract details. But it is interesting, Baker, because you know, for the Steelers, they've had 6 different quarterbacks since Ben Roethlisberger retired back in 2022. Crazy. And they're wondering, is this the guy? Is he our QB1? And I think it depends. Do you get 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, or do you get post-Achilles tear Rodgers that was sacked 40 times, posted his lowest yards per attempt, and went 6-12 with the Jets. Well, I love that you have a puzzle piece that honors the relationship with you and your mom, but also you are such a big puzzle piece in the growth of the WNBA, and I'd love to get your thoughts on where it is now. Of course, we're now on the brink of the 2026 media deal, that 11-year massive deal that they signed last year. Also, expansion's been underway with 3 teams added in the last 2 seasons. As someone that is a Hall of Fame basketball player that's seen the league grow so much, with the CBA negotiations underway, what do you think in terms of player salary, roster size, other issues are the most pressing issues that they have to prioritize to get right and continue to grow the pieces of the puzzle of the WNBA? One of the best Premier League players of all time, 33-year-old Son Heung-min, is leaving Tottenham, coming to the MLS on a record-shattering transfer fee reported around $26 million to join 6th place LAFC. This would make the South Korean forward the most expensive incoming MLS transfer ever, and this is also the 3rd record-setting transfer fee we've seen this season. Let's talk about those paydays, because that's a big part of this as well. I know you and I had a chance to be a part of that Netflix documentary. More exposure, more opportunity to peel back the layers, go behind the scenes. And a big part of that is the efforts of people like Jake Paul and others, of course, that are actively looking to raise the ceiling of what boxers, period, are getting paid. Because when you look at the numbers, it's insane that you had a price point of about $5,000 to $15,000, $20,000 for some purses previously, whereas for this fight, every single fighter has a chance to be eligible for a $250,000 performance bonus. And for boxers, typically, as you're doing maybe 1 or 2 big fights a year, because physically you just cannot do much more, it's hard to sustain a living wage off of that. And boxers like Clarissa Shields have come out and talked about it, many others, that it's not sustainable. You might be an Olympic athlete, gold medalist, and going home and unable to pay the bills. Yet this is a massive step towards giving boxers, honestly, a salary or a pay that makes more sense as a professional athlete.